Alright, hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Classes with Sir Supreme One. That's me. And as usual, try and like the videos and subscribe. Click the subscribe button so that we can build up the channel. And as the video comes out, you get the videos and help yourself out. Without wasting much time, we are going to go into today's topic. Today it won't be like a lecture like that. It would be the kind of interactive session, and I have somebody here that will help me out. Is a scholar, well read, widely traveled. We have Dr. Joshua, a colleague, a friend, and somebody very knowledgeable. And you won't be seeing his face because he's camera shy, but he will just help me out. All right. So today I will be speaking on the issue of not able to speak the mother tongue and the backlash, how bad it is. Speaking of mother tongue, this is a kind of a sensitive topic, and in this part of the world, speaking of mother tongue, it's something taken very seriously. And I decided to speak on this because we have people that have been led into depression, people that have been led into inferiority complex built up because of this issue. Now, in Africa, they hold it strong to maintain your culture, tradition, and these things that comes with your culture and tradition, and being able to speak the mother tongue. It's something of high regards. When the white men came over to Africa, they brought their own culture, they brought their own language, and Nigeria, as opposed to most countries in the West African line, which are more of Francophone speaking, we are more of Anglophone. Is it Anglophone? We are more of Anglophone. That's the English speaking. The other side is French speaking, and I think that is where the religion came into, and we accepted the English way of speaking and all that. And when it comes to speaking of mother tongue, it's a language. Basically, it's a language, and you have to be in an environment where it is spoken for you to be able to catch up. All right, and with this modern movement from rural to urban centers, we have a lot of people that have lost touch with that language being spoken, hence the inability to speak that language. It is a good thing if you can speak the mother tongue. It's actually a good thing. It helps to preserve the language, the culture. But my picking this to talk about is that we are in a situation we have people that have been made to feel useless, made to feel less African because of the inability to speak this language. And I'm here to speak on behalf of people that cannot speak the language. I personally cannot speak my native language. I'm from Delta State. I'm an Urobo man by tribe. I'm from Ugele, south of Delta State, who speak Urobo as a language. At an early age, I was speaking Urobo. Yes, because I remember there was a time I could not speak English. I'm from a military background. My dad is a retired Air Force man, so we moved from barracks to barrack. And there was once when we were in Enugu barracks. Enugu is a state in eastern Nigeria, and we stayed there at the time. And I remember when I could only speak Urhobo. I couldn't speak English fluently. You get me? Now, after a long while of being around people who could speak Urhobo, I could only speak English and couldn't speak Urhobo again. Over the time, some people have actually tried to make me feel less Urhobo because I can't speak the language. And I'm saying that it's wrong. Basically, mother tongue is a language. Language is meant for communication. I can communicate. We can all communicate. English language, French language, Urhobo, Hausa, Igbo, Yoruba, German, Spanish, whatever form of communication, there's the ability to communicate, which matters. What people are concerned about is preservation of that culture, that language, which actually it's more of the duty of the government than the people. The government is meant to put things in place to preserve the tradition, the culture of its people. They are meant to incorporate it into the schooling system. Growing up, I remember when you are supposed to do Yoruba, Hausa, or Igbo in as low as primary school, nursery school, coming up like that. It's part of the it's a mandatory course that you must pick one native language that you would do in your exams. But that is not enough. If that's why the English could maintain their English, the French could maintain their French. You can speak other language, but you could maintain that because the government actually put things, structures in ground on place to make sure this thing is maintained. In Africa here, a lot of things are just left to, survive themselves. Left for us to, maintain the language ourselves. But we are human beings. We move from one place to the other. If you're in the rural areas, this language is being used, and children pick it up. Then when you travel to other places, you be in certain urban areas in the Lagos metropolis, and people speak predominantly English language, and that is what we speak. And you don't make someone to feel less African. We are not less African. Nobody is less African because they can't speak a language. The African is bigger than the language. The language is an aspect of that culture, that tradition. There are other things involved. Who you are is who you are. Where you come from is where you come from. You can't tell somebody that he's less this because he could not speak the language, or because of the way he dresses, or because of the ideology he has picked up. He is who he is, right? Now, let me just throw something to my colleague. Now, Joshua, do you agree with our fathers, our elderly fathers, when they tell you that, when they make statement that it's a disgrace for you as a native of a particular tribe not to be able to speak that tribe, to speak that language? Take in quote the word disgrace. Disgrace is actually a word used to belittle somebody. Do you think that it's right for you to use that word?
No, well, our parents, speaking of our fathers, telling their children that it's a disgrace for them not being able to speak, their mother tongue or their mother language is a disgrace. Well, they see it from their own view
Yeah.
because then when they were growing up, they they happen to to learn their mother language or their mother tongue when they were growing up. Their parents were speaking it at home in their various houses and they were able to learn it, and they look at it from that perspective that the same way they learned it, their children are supposed to learn it
Yeah.
same way. And it's it's something that they think their children should generally accept it. But in the modern world today,
Thank you.
we the world is it's a global world we are. So they've forgotten that things are gradually changing,
Yeah.
and it's the way it was then in the medieval era. If I'm to
Thank
use the
you.
word, it's not any
The same
it's
word we
not
have
it's not
today.
it's not the same thing. It's not the same way it is today. So I believe things have really changed. Even if they can look at it from that angle, there won't be problem in the society today.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what I think personally. Things have really changed,
Yeah.
and I like to also say this. What makes you think not being able to communicate effectively with the mother tongue makes the individual less an Africa? Because I really want to get that. Can you throw more light into that point?
Yeah. Now, as I said when I was explaining, some people actually come with that phrase that you are less African. When people migrate from here to the Western world in search of jobs and all that, and we have that's a human nature. We like to copy things. Somebody lives here and it stays like 2 3 months, and when you talk to them on phone and you start trying to talk like people from over there, start saying men, what's up? Start talking from the nose, and you can't. But basically, they are picking up the cultures and what they see over there, and people look at it as if when you start picking up cultures from other places, you leave behind what you have here, and when you accept that and leave this, you are giving more of your Africanness out and accepting more of the Western way. So hence you are less African. Now, what I see there is that liberalness. When I say liberal, I mean that openness. When people open up to accept more of the Western way of life, Western way of life is more liberal. That's why you have things that are alien to our way of thinking happen over there. They are more liberal when you check like the parenting aspects. The parents, they are more liberal with the way they communicate with the children and all that. Whilst here we are more strict. The over there they are open up, and the manner of communication.
Okay, talking about being liberal, the parental aspect of it. Well, don't you think this whole mother tongue of the thing we're talking about now, don't you think the parents had more role to play, in bringing up the child to enable the child learns the mother language, before the government takes some measures?
Actually, the parents they are in the family, and the family is your first point of contact growing up. So the family has the first responsibility to meet up with knowledge acquired. Your mother tongue if the parents use it to communicate, which most people do, the child picks it up from there. The parents have that responsibility. But as I also explained, there is this rural to urban migration. And human beings will pick up what we have in the environment. If you are in an environment where the predominant language used for communication is English, and you have a parent, a father and a mother that speaks to you at home with that language, there are certain levels you are going to reach where that knowledge, that language ability will start to fall. We have rare cases, we have exceptional cases of people who are really linguistics by nature. They know how to pick up languages and they are good at it. So even with the few times they speak it or engage in that language, they maintain it. Then there are some people that just for the fact that you speak it at home and you spend most of your time outside home, you get to reduce. There's a time we have situations. We have a kid that will now go to boarding school and spend months before coming back home. When you finish the boarding school, you go to a university. You spend years and you come back home. That period of time, it's enough for an urban-based child to not be able to speak that language effectively or efficiently as he ought to or she ought to. The whole essence of the talk is that you cannot, and it is wrong, to belittle anybody just for the simple fact that they cannot speak the mother tongue. Some people can actually write in the mother tongue. There are very few people that can even write with the mother. They can speak fluently, but they cannot write in the mother tongue. Does that make the one that can write more African than the one that cannot write? We live in an urban area that we see people that speak their language. Then you bring somebody from the ancestral home and you see that there's a difference in the speaking. You think this person is very fluent, but he or she is not telling you that there are certain things that person coming from over there is speaking that they cannot even fathom, they cannot even comprehend. So you see that layers of the language is peeling off and they cannot, flow as they ought to. Just because certain layers are peeled off doesn't mean that they are less African. It doesn't mean that they cannot measure up, they cannot level up. It's simple language. It's a culture. It's a tradition. For the fact that we get what people are trying to say. The less people speak that language, the less the higher rates of that tradition, that culture keep diminishing, and it might be a time that it would just vanish. You understand? I get what people are saying. I did a marriage when I was wedding, and we passed through the whole traditional way of marriage, and custom, and doing this and doing that, bringing lace and so. These are traditions that have been set down. These are customs that have been set down. Of course, I know in my own daughter's time, in my own son's time, that is still some years from now. In my own daughter's time, they won't pass through that. I don't even see myself bringing out a list to bring this, bring that, bring this, bring just. Do you understand? I don't even, I did not grow up in home. I don't even know what it involves. And as we said, the world is a global world. We are getting more liberal now. We are getting more understanding. That rigorous way of doing things, we are peeling it off. Do you understand?
I still think education background has a way of has something to do, is a big factor that has to do with this topic, because some of our parents are literally are not even educated. So except for the educated ones who would understand what you're talking about. For those who are not educated, it's gonna be a big problem.
That is why it's our duty to start putting it out, to start informing, start educating. It's our duty to pass it out there. We are not here to counter tradition. We are not here to kill any culture. We are here to help humanity. If you see that the culture or the tradition or the way of life is restricting progress, if it's causing hardship for persons who believe in it, it is your right, it is your duty as someone that is enlightened to let them know. Pass it out there, let people start to think for themselves. Let people start to accept what they want. The role of enlightened persons is to make sure that knowledge goes out, so that people get knowledge that would help them. In the past, we have things that were part of the customs and tradition. Then as knowledge came, as enlightenment came, we start to do away with them. Even the traditional hardcore people had to do away with them. There was a time that they were killing of twins, because the knowledge was that the delivery of two human beings at the same time is a connection of light and darkness. The first is the light, the second is darkness. Therefore, the second is killed, taken to the evil forest and left there. These are traditions that are passed out down, and people accepted it. Somewhere in the forest that God gave naturally, we have trees there, we have fertile soil for farming and everything. And somebody or group of persons somewhere just declare it evil forest. Nobody goes there. Animals roam there free. Trees just grow and waste. Alright? And they take somebody and drop them there. They take dead bodies and drop them there. They take live babies and drop them there. They declare some people caused by the gods, they take them there. Albinos were taken and dropped there. Alright? Female mutation, that's the circumcision of female children. All these were tradition and customs accepted then as the law, as truth, as the ideal way of life. But with time, they start to give that away, because tradition and culture were actually formulated by men at certain point in time. When societies were being created, people come together to set down rules and regulations. They set customs and tradition to guide their people at that particular time. They had a deity that they believed in as a god, and they passed out information that it's direction from that god. They passed out directives from that god to guide the everyday life of the people in that community. At that particular time in history, that was accepted. But as humanity was developing, man started to develop. Man got to invent science. Science is different from technology. Technology is actually putting hardware together and make something happen. Science is that knowledge. That's where you formulate the knowledge to do the unknown and do things. Now, when man started to develop science, it developed a better way of doing things. Some of the unnecessary that were causing hardship then were now being just let them go. That's the same thing. The tradition and culture were formulated by men at a certain point in time. Africa is a third world country. It's hard to even meet up. The government is not doing well for us. But in this time, to get wedded in Africa is actually like 10 times the cost of an American to get wedded, or somebody in the Western world, which have better economy than ours. They have better government taking care of them than ours, but they do things simple. It's now a tradition or part of our way of life, our culture, to do things extravagantly. You can do it on your own to be very extravagant too, but on the lowest form, what the culture demands is actually extravagant compared to that of other parts of the world. Certain parts of the world, if you go to India, it's also the same thing. You go to some other places, it's the same thing. But there's some places that the man and the woman we have incorporated that into different things. I have a baby that I have to do a naming ceremony now. Our normal way of, it's not even a traditional culture, it's just an urban culture now. To do that naming ceremony, you are supposed to spend money. A man of God will come to name that child and dedicate that child, and we need something. Appreciation.
You have to give him a token.
You give him a token. If you don't give, it's as if you are trying to change the program, what is on ground. And that is wrong. That's what I'm trying. So the whole essence of the mother tongue thing, that if we are going back to the mother tongue thing, is that the backlash that is being received for not to be able to speak it, it's wrong. That backlash, it's inappropriate, it is wrong. You cannot belittle anybody for the inability to do something, because that person has a lot of other aspects of their life that they are good at. There's this, I read it somewhere. It goes like this, that you cannot judge the ability of the fish based on its ability to climb a tree. So also, you cannot belittle the monkey on its ability to swim. If you were to throw the monkey into the river, the fish would basically be disappointed with the monkey for its inability to swim. It's basically useless. And so also the monkey would also be disappointed on the fish if the fish were to attempt to climb a tree. These are things, beings of different worlds. But that doesn't make them useless. On their own turfs, they are kings. But when you put a round peg in the square hole, it won't fit. It becomes useless. But that doesn't mean that that peg is useless. It's just that it's useless on that particular hole. So also, you don't belittle someone just for his or her inability to speak the mother tongue.
Or trying to make the person less of a human.
Less of a human being. That's what we are trying to see. So this is actually going out for all those who have been feeling bad, or who have been feeling depressed, or who have been given that burden to go and learn the native language or the mother tongue just to be able to meet up, to make some people feel happy, or just to be able to feel accepted in certain circles. It's a good thing for you to learn it. It's a good thing to be able to speak your mother tongue. It's a good thing. I will encourage everybody to try it if you have the time. But don't make it as a burden. Don't make it as an access to insult some other persons because they cannot. We have mothers that have done that to their children. We have parents that have done that to their children, and the child is feeling depressed. The children are feeling worthless. They are feeling less human, less African, less tribal because of that, which is wrong. Don't belittle anybody. You are somebody with intelligence. You are somebody that God has blessed with the ability to communicate. The language was created by man to help communication. I'm a Christian. I believe in Christian principles. For those viewers that are not Christians, I'm referring to Christian because I'm a Christian and that's what I do. But if you are an atheist, you are whatever. The thing is that language was created by man to help man. Man cannot be ruled by its creation. We rule our creation, not the creation ruling us. Man created the language for effective communication. If the creation is now becoming a source of depression, a source of self-hurt, is now no longer necessary. Something is good when it is good, but when it becomes not good, it is not good. You feel me?
Yeah, that's true.
So I encourage people out there, for you not to be able to speak your mother tongue, and certain persons are letting you feel as if you are worthless, you are not worthy of being part of that tribe. Let them know that it is not a yardstick to measure your self-worth. It is not a means to make you feel belittled. The mother tongue is part of a culture and tradition, and culture and tradition was actually created by man. If it's too much, sit down and create your own. Yes. If you have the level of genius to do that, you will do that. Yes, that is how life is. Man is meant to conquer. As a Christian, we were told that we are gods. When you are saying you are gods, it means you are a creator. You can create. Men actually create things. I'm an artist by nature. I draw. I do some sculpture and stuff. And when you do that, that is actually a creation. Do you understand? We are not when we say creating, it doesn't necessarily mean you must create like God. God can create out of nothing. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Because He is God. That is His own level of creation. Our own level of creation, we create with what is available. Now, when you create something, you don't create it to kill yourself. You always
Make
create
it be
with
a
a self.
self-body.
You don't create to give yourself unnecessary problem.
Yeah.
You create to meet a purpose. And that purpose is to better you, not to diminish you
Depress you.
or to lead you into depression. So I encourage people who have been having issues with this mother tongue. It is no big deal. It is something that will encourage you to try and learn. But if you cannot and you have not, you shouldn't take it as a source of depression. Anybody trying to belittle you, anybody trying to put you down just because you cannot speak your mother tongue, let them know that it is nothing. It doesn't belittle you, it doesn't change you, it doesn't make you less of a human being, it doesn't make you less of a particular tribe. It's just something that you work on. So I encourage people, speaking of mother tongue is good, but you are lording over the mother tongue, not the mother tongue lording over you. I don't say go and quarrel with your parents, or go and quarrel with your elders, or go and quarrel with traditional men. Don't go and quarrel with anybody. Don't go and bring unnecessary arguments. Just don't give in to bullying. Let nobody bully you or belittle you because of your inability to. Because you cannot speak it, but they are communicating with you. Is it not communication they are using to scold you? Is it not communication they are using to let you know you cannot speak your mother tongue? You are communicating. That is the whole essence. If you cannot communicate with one language in this life, you are now deaf and dumb. What we call baby. If you are in that state, that is not a problem. But if you have an alternative and you can communicate, then nobody should belittle you. As I said, it is necessary, it is good if you can. But if you cannot, or you can't at this particular time, it warrants no legitimate approval of any of these persons to now belittle you, to let you know that you are useless, you are a disgrace. You are not a disgrace to any culture, any tradition. Don't even go there. So please, I would encourage everybody out there, try. If you cannot speak your mother tongue like me, try and learn it. But if you cannot, don't give it into bullying. Don't give in to depression. Don't give in to people talking you down. You are more than that. You are better than that. That will be the end for now. And I urge you once again.
Mr. Premier, that's really good. I think you've well spoken, and you know it's quite understandable, and I believe the your point it's clear enough, and everybody should be able to understand all that you've said so far. That's really it's a really good lesson for today, and I agree with you.
Yeah,
I agree. Good one.
That's word from Dr. Joshua. Nice one there. So please, guys, try and like the button and subscribe. And but next class we'll talk on something different. I'll look for something that we can touch on. I always like interactive classes. It might not be as interactive as you wanted, or you wanted to see his face, but let's just respect his wishes. He doesn't like being on camera. You know, when the money starts to come now, he will want to be on the camera. But right now, since he doesn't want, let's respect his wishes. And please, guys, subscribe, and next video will be out. So take care, and nice being with you all once again. Classes will start Supreme One. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Stay safe. Good night.